Man, what an exciting venue tonight to be able to come out and practice here at the Benz and see familiar faces. With that, I open up questions to you guys. You guys got nothing. I'm out of here. What's up, Allison? D-Lay usually starts it off. Oh, how you doing? That's okay. You just want to be on camera, I know. Allison?
Oh, sorry. I tried to give it to her.
Yeah. You're so rude, Josh.
How do you think about the defensive line in terms of the numbers that you can keep, the numbers that you want to keep? How do you sort out that versus the other positions and how those numbers work?
Are you in our meeting room, Josh? That's a very good question. Now, when you look about our defensive line, you got to talk about going a little heavier, right? We got a 30-year-old Grady up there. We got Ayamada up there that's 30 years old. We drafted a bunch of young guys that she would love to keep and find roles for those guys. So you potentially could go a little heavier up front than normal years. And we were built that way. We kind of talked about it even throughout the draft process. You want to find ways and different ways to manipulate pass rush. And those are the guys that do it. It usually starts up front. So I can feel us going heavy there. I don't know how heavy exactly yet. You got to let it play out a little bit within the game, within the framework of the preseason to do all those things. But it's really exciting when you see a bunch of young talent and some older veterans coming back off injury, even going out and getting a guy like Eddie Goldman, some of the excitement that can be brought there. And it'll be a lot of fun picking those guys. So I'm really excited about that. That is a very well done job by you to notice that and to be able to see those guys up front. But you can expect a little bit heavier potentially, and we'll talk about that as we move on, Terry and I and all the guys in our personnel department along with our coaches.
Raheem, just how valuable is it for you and the rookies to kind of get this run through for the first time at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and get a feel for the atmosphere environment?
I don't even know about the value. I just think it's more about the excitement of coming down to the stadium. I mean, you can just feel the energy when you walk in, and it feels like my first day at the press conference when I got a chance to see you guys and talk to you, when you guys were all tight, trying to be all stuffy and had to loosen you up a little bit. But I really feel the energy from the stadium, the beautiful stuff that's been done down here by the people that work here, Arthur Blank and his leadership and our team and what we've done. It's just exciting. So to get these rookies out here the first time so they can get some of the ooh and the ah out is certainly going to be work out in our favor.
Raheem, I'm sure you're concerned about a lot of things right now. What is your biggest concern at training camp that you say that you've really got to get right during training camp going into the regular season?
You know, for us, it's really about health and execution, right? Getting our guys to execute, keeping our guys as healthy as possible, finding ways to train our guys in the correct way. Our performance team has done a wonderful job of doing some of those things for us. Our performance team has done a wonderful job of leading us in how we practice, the amount of physicality we can bring to practice, when we give them rest, when we get them on, when they go, they go. It's been really exciting. So, like, I hate to say it's stress. It's more excitement. It's more getting ready for the season, you know, and getting those guys ready to get to Pittsburgh to be their best version of themselves.
Good. Yeah, Raheem, I want to say Zach Harrison's up about 20 pounds from where he was at last year. When you're in that process of trying to have him add, whether it's nutrition, staff, what's that like, you know, trying to create that plan for him?
You know, it just talked about on the performance team, and they do such a great job. And our nutritionist, Stephen Benjamin, tells those guys what their ideal plan weight is, along with the communication from our players. And Zach is no different, you know, than all of our guys. They want to come out and maximize their strengths and what they do really well. And Zach's one of those guys we're going to be counting on. We talked about him having the inside flex with the outside flex, him having the ability to play and be big and be as strong as he can. But it just goes back to the old adage, bigger, faster, stronger, and he's certainly that. Voice is cracking. Tough week of practice.
Raheem, you guys made a few moves yesterday, including bringing in CFL quarterback Nathan Rourke. Why him? What did you guys see in him, and what was that transaction?
Our personnel department is always going to be active. We got one of the more active personnel departments in the National Football League. We're constantly turning the roster over. We're constantly working people out. They're obsessed with their ability to go find people for us. Rourke was very high on our list and a guy that we wanted to see and have a chance to get some action. We got a chance to work him out. We wanted to sign him, maybe get a chance to see a little bit more of him. Was really excited about even some of the guys that we got rid of, like a Paddock, like a Baldwin. It's getting rid of some of those guys, but we got a chance to see a bunch of different guys to add to our football team to continuously build the bottom of our roster. And our guys do such a great job. Terry, Cal Smith, Ryan Smith, Tumbo, all those guys, they're just amazing. Rossi, I can't say enough good things about those guys. Hakeem, that whole department. I know I'm missing somebody, but They do such a good job for us at the bottom of the roster, turning that thing over continuously and constantly looking for better players and looking for good players and how we can improve our roster.
Coach, you talked about how excited you were, but what do you hope the fans take away from this practice?
You know, this is what this is for, right? This year, we don't have the chance to have the fans come out to our stadium as much, our facility as much as we want. Obviously, the construction, but to get down here and get the fan environment, to get the people around us, is what we're doing it for, right? We try to get as many dates as we can going to second year, coming down to the stadium to allow the people to see a little bit of the product that's being put out in the field, is get a chance to feel like I feel every single day when you see defense have good days, offense have good days, special teams have good days. It is so much fun. It is so much energy. Last night, the Hall of Fame game really got us going. People wanted to see what the kickoff rule looks like and all those type of things. We all were paying attention. We all were looking. We all got a chance to go back and study today, and now our fans get a chance to study their team and what they've been able to do instead of just reading about it from the wonderful writers out here.
Coach, you're always talking about role clarity, and I'm just curious as far as with Troy Anderson and him being the second-round pick and trying to establish himself on his team coming off an injury. What do you feel like the ideal role for him would be?
You know, it's really unbelievable. He's done an amazing job, right? And make no mistake about it, he's a starting linebacker in the National Football League, and we just so happen to have 3 of them. You know, so like when you talk about the roles and what they do, and how they can go out there and play and help us win football games, they'll determine that on the football field because they have that kind of makeup. They have that kind of juice. Their coach is built that way. Their coach is built from the second round, and a guy that worked and a guy that was absolute teacher and one of those guys in the football field that you can actually talk about. And I see no difference in a guy like Troy because he's going to go out there and give us everything he has, no matter what the phase is, whether we're talking about special teams, no matter what the role is when we're talking about defense. I'm excited to go watch those guys perform and go out there and show their best self and the best version of themselves. Really excited about tonight's practice. Really looking forward to next week going to scrimmage against Miami and moving forward.
Raheem, Kirk told us.
Allison, 2 questions tonight.
Yeah,
You're excited.
No. Well, Kirk told us the other day that he took off running during a 2-minute drill. He said he felt good about it. He said he almost gave you a heart attack. So what was your reaction to it? And then does that give you some confidence that he's going in the right direction?
You know, I'm holding him back, right? Obviously. He can clearly run. He can clearly do those things. You guys saw it. We want to blow early whistles because it's not his game, right? That's not what we're going to expect him to do. When he has to do it, we'll let him do it. No different than a Matt Ryan. Want to give the early whistle, want to stop him from running, making himself look bad with that bad form and do all those things. But, you know, realistically, it's more my chief of staff, Steve Skarnecchia, panicking. He was with the Jets last year. He's in the panic with their quarterback going down. And we're protecting the team as much as we can. And he's certainly a valuable asset for doing that. And he did give us a heart attack, but I'll yell at him later. I'm going to practice. Josh has nothing else to say. Will?
Yeah, Coach, there was a moment on Wednesday during the one-on-ones between the receivers and the secondary when I believe it was Casey Washington kind of stepped out of bounds. I think
Yes.
you said you ran out of bounds, young rook.
Yes.
I'm curious, what does the follow-up to that coaching moment look like? And you don't have to give any specific details, but like how do you carry that from the field to the classroom and what does that development look like for a rookie?
He's got such a great coach in Ike Hilliard. You know, a guy that's done it at a high level, both at the collegiate level and the pro level. A guy that's done it for a long time, that's been around great teams, that knows exactly what it feels like, when to be patient, when you got to rush the process, how do you get open in the timing of the route. And when you get closer to the red zone, those alerts have to go off. How much time I can take at the line of scrimmage till I get to my landmark to be at the perfect spot for the quarterback to hit me. And if I run out of bounds, it's a different deal now, right? So it's a learning curve for all those guys. So when you get a chance to bring that to the classroom, they can learn that lesson. They can take away from it. They can be situationally aware as they move down the football field and be able to do some of those things. I really love the red zone one-on-ones. It's highly competitive. You can slow it down. You can take some of the yardage off. You can do some of the things that they have to do when you get down there, and it's a lot of fun, particularly going into the classroom and being able to teach that to a young guy, and it's great. You know, I get a chance to sit back, watch Ike Hilliard go to work, watch KJ work with them, watch Chandler Whitmer again in those rooms as well, and those guys do a great job with those guys, and it's a lot of fun to go in the classroom with all of them. It's particularly going to the wideout room for me.
Raheem, generally speaking, Super Bowl winning teams or dominant teams have a disruptive force in the front seven. Do you think you guys have to go out and get a disruptive force, or are you pretty confident that you have a disruptive force in the front seven right now?
Have you met Grady, Jared?
I have.
I can introduce you to him in a while.
So he's the guy you're going to pick?
He is a disruptive force and he's coming off an injury, and you kind of can forget about him a little bit, right? But that's when guys are most motivated, and watching him do his press conference and the passion that he gave behind his press conference is one of those things that really excite me. David Onyemata, I mean, you're talking about a disruptive force, and you're talking about guys that's really done it in this league at a high level, and they really excite me, Jared. And like, when I get a chance to watch those guys lead their room, and I get a chance to watch those guys find a way to make that disruptive force and see what the impact that they have on their team and the people around them, like I got a chance to see with Aaron Donald, the greatest of all time, impact that young unit that we had out in LA that nobody knew who Kobe Turner was, nobody knew who Byron Young was, and the impact that they have on those players when they find that role, when they find their niche, when they find out how to play with these great players, when they find out how to play with the physicality that's required to go out there and win football games. That's what's most important to me, and that's what we're learning right now. I'm out of here. See you guys later. I had to end on that drop the mic moment. Okay, you got another question.
I'm about to say you can go get your football pass right now. Coach, you talked about the depth on the defensive line. I'm just curious about with David Onyemata and Grady Jarrett. Obviously, those guys are going to be forced against the run. Do you feel like that's going to be kind of you all's identity as you figure out who's going to be those guys to come off the edge on 3rd and long?
You know, like I told you multiple times about the team's identity, that's got to be forged on the grass. You know, I got an idea in my head what the identity looks like, how you affect the quarterback, some of the things you can do, but realistically, the only people that can really affect that are the players in that locker room. The only people that can really affect that is the players that I talked about with that type of passion when we're talking about rushing as a unit and rushing together, and all the people that are going to be around them, whether you're talking about Trice, whether you're talking about Ellis, whether you're talking about our edge guys and Carter and Young and the young people, you know, AK, just a bunch of different pieces that can get out there, and if you can find your way and you can find your role, that's when you get a chance to form those guys that really make their name when it's their time to go out there and do it. And that's what excites me, being able to coach those ways. Hey, Taryn.
You mentioned watching the kickoff return yesterday specifically. What were your takeaways from that, seeing it live finally?
It was fun. You know, I think the National Football League is getting what they want. Some extra returns, obviously strategies a little bit out the window right now. People probably want to see it. You can see the learning curve from all the coaches having a chance to go look at it, us having a chance to go look at the game from last night. Marquise Williams does such a great job, and he was such a part of the whole process of finding ways to bring the play back to the game. I have so much confidence in him and King and finding the best ways for us to do that. You've been out of practice a lot with us and watched us how much we worked on it. The uptick in the amount of work that play is getting this year, the uptick in the excitement for the fans and what they're going to see. And bringing that play back for us is exciting. There is a little unknown. Let's not kid ourselves. That makes everybody a little nervous. But at the same time, that nervous energy is what creates the excitement for the National Football League.